for me, when I, like, it helped me to kind of label it. So I now label that as the thinking mind, and that allows me to detach from it. And so when
it's separate from me.
Yeah, when I become involved in the emotion, and I feel myself, feeling as if I am the person, I am the character, I label that, and I'm like, okay, that's the thinking mind. It's in the detachment, like you're saying, that allows us that space where we're like, oh, okay, how I feel is really what's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's almost like, think about thoughts as the New York City Library. And you go in there, it's like the amount of books, I don't care how quick a reader you are. If you live to 200 years old, you couldn't read all of them. So when you go in there, what actually floats your boat is the section in which you're going to go to. And there's a multitude of books, but you don't need to read all of them. So look at each book in the library and add the magazines if you want, as thoughts. You ought not to get rid of them. You just sift and choose. So as you're walking down the aisle past all the books, you let them go by.
Exactly.
Yeah. But if you try to read every book or grab, you're gonna get overwhelmed. You have to leave the library.
But I like that you said that the thoughts aren't yours, because often we think, oh, these are my thoughts, just because it's a very conditioned way of thinking, but we associate to them, like, why am I having such, crazy thoughts, etc. And we kind of make it like part of who we are, and that it's not. Thoughts are thoughts. They're simply that. They're clouds passing by.
There is a correlation, because we are patterned to be in a state.
Through our experience.
If it's a state of fear, if you're in a state of fear, and again, there's multiple levels of fear, but just generally, if you're in a state of fear, the thoughts that are going to come through are going to be fear thoughts. The thoughts didn't get you into the state. You were somewhat familiar with the state, so you know how to go into it. And you might see a situation outside of you, and then that situation will then trigger fear, and then all the thoughts come in. Again, if I was in the state of Arizona, to expect to see the ocean, it didn't creep in. I was already in that state in order to get out of there. So we become familiar with these states, and that's why those thoughts come in. They're not ours. Just like the cactus isn't mine just because I'm in Arizona, but that's what I'm seeing. It's what I'm experiencing. But when I go to, the west coast of California, and I'm on the ocean, I'm in that state, but that's not mine either. It's just the ocean in which I'm viewing. So I'm even distancing myself from that.
By not taking possession of the thoughts, it allows yourself to create that gap, to create that distance.
Yeah.
Because now you no longer feel responsible or tied to a thought. So, for example, a thought of depression, a thought of anxiety, as soon as those come up, you see them for what they are, a cloud passing by, and you do not say, oh, I'm depressed, I'm anxious. You allow that thought.
And that lets you get out of the state.
Path.
Yeah, you aren't the state of Arizona, even though you see cactus and valley.
Yep.
And what we're finding out is when we separate, put distance between that, that's when we enjoy. The reason we enjoy a movie, a play, a rock concert, and all this stuff is because we're not it. We're viewing it. We're distancing from it, but yet we're involved in it. All right?
We can do that with with everyday life is what we're getting at.
Well, that's it. So you look at a movie, a rock concert, a book, and all this. Those are just fractals of life. So we experience that. So yet, why do we enjoy reading a book? Why do we enjoy watching a movie or a TV show or listening to music? Because we're separate from it. And now there's a part of us that's viewing it. We are separate from our thoughts. We just don't believe we are. And that's why we don't enjoy it. Unless there's certain thoughts. And then we play this game of like, good luck or bad luck. And so if I happen upon these good thoughts, that's good. But then it's like, oh my God, life's like a roller coaster, like you have no control over it. And I'm like, yeah, but you do, because you stepped onto the ride. It's a roller coaster and the purpose is going up and down. You do have control over the states you're in, but we have to become more steadfast in trying to control. And that's where the game is. The game is staying as conscious and focused as you possibly can. And if you fall out of that, who cares? It's part and parcel of the story. Separate from that as well. Because if you try to always stay, and the goal is to be focused, I'm like, you're going to drive yourself mad. But when you get good at this, all of a sudden you find yourself in focus and out of focus and in focus, but you know how to get back it. Once you find yourself out of focus, that moves you back into focus.
And the falling out, the reason, I shouldn't feel this way. No. That's that conditioned pattern of thinking. That's why when we went through school, we were taught not to fail, taught not to make mistakes, etc. So what? You feel yourself fall out. Thank goodness I had the awareness, the consciousness to bring me back to the path.
Yeah.
That's and the knocking yourself does absolutely zero to help the process.
No, and
in fact, it's a regression by knocking yourself.
Yeah, and there is a correlation. This is why we do it. It's not like there's a madman out there that started school to just mess with our little heads. There is a correlation because what we weren't taught, at least in my household, it was taught like indirectly, not directly, was to focus. We were told to focus. It's like yelling at someone, throw the football, and they don't even know what a football is. Throw the football. I'm like, what the fuck is a football? Like, pardon my French. But what are you talking about? You must show somebody what a football is, how to hold it, how to throw it before doing it. So if we spent the first, say, I'm just throwing these numbers out there, say the first 5 years of our schooling on learning how to focus, give it a subject or not, but to concentrate and focus on something, everything else would have fell into place. You could have easily done it simultaneously. Doesn't mean you have to eliminate a subject, but we weren't taught to focus.
Plus, other people focus on different topics,
Well, yeah.
Like if everyone had to focus on the same thing, you know what I mean?
Well, I'm saying like if you just went and focused on your breath, everyone breathes. So it's something that everyone has a heart, so you focus on the pulsating your heart. Everyone looks at nature and they'll look at it differently. They breathe differently. Their heart beats differently, but they can all focus on it. And then when you focus on that, you then learn you can control the mind. You go from your heart to your breathing to the tip of your toe. All of a sudden you realize, oh my God, I can feel my toe, I can feel my heart beating, and I can hear my breath going in and out. Just my direction created focus. Now when the teacher pulls up the history of ancient Greece, I know how to focus. And all of a sudden the material comes in and I start to get it. And then the idea of applying it is stepping away from it. Well, how does ancient Greece apply to my world today? That's cool. That's interesting.
I really love that take, Frank, because you're right. Like, we aren't taught how to focus. No. We're told how to focus.
Yeah.
Or we're told to focus.
Excuse me.
We're not taught ever
it's like
how.
Throw the football, but no one knows what football is.
Exactly.
So what am I throwing?
That's
what is even throwing, Until you show somebody the act of it. And again, focus is an experience. You can tell someone focus on their toe, and they will. Now,
each in their own way.
And I'm like, do you feel tingling? And until I suggested the tingling, they probably didn't. Feel when I tell people breathe in your nose. Do you feel the coolness? Oh my God, I never noticed it before. Now breathe out your nose. You feel the heat. Oh my God, I never noticed that before. Your attention gets so focused. Now all you did is suggest and focus. So now I can suggest to myself what to focus on. And I'm like, God, I can do that. But it was these practices I had, So we're trying to teach people how to run before they even could crawl. And we're wondering why. Think about this. And I don't know the gauge is right, but I'm just going to use it anyway. If 20% of our society is successful, but 100% of them go through school, we're at an 80% deficit in the way we teach. Right?
And those numbers probably aren't too far off.
And then you got another level of 1%. So now there's a deficit in the 99% of something, right? And that's just a concept of abundance, but that's another story.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if only 20, I've heard this before. I've never did the study, so I don't know, but I've heard this multiple times. In every sector of business or any area of life, only 20% of the people are successful. It doesn't matter what you do. Why is that? It's not like a scientific fact in a sense. It's a study, but why is it 20%, not 100%? Well, that's what we're getting at. What did the 20% know that we don't know? Maybe they understood focus and they didn't know how to teach it or explain it. Maybe they fell into focus. Who knows? We don't know. But it is about focus. And I know this personally because until I understand the concept of focus and started doing it, it seemed like my life was going in this very linear, I was in a circle. I go 5 miles this way, 5 miles this way.
I know.
After doing 10
so
miles,
well.
I look down. I'm like, damn, I haven't left a spot. I'm going in a circle, or I'm linear moving back and forth. I'm like chasing my tail. I'm like, I'm not getting anywhere. And the truth is, there's nowhere to get to, but there is a feeling of movement that we all enjoy. But once I started focusing,
that's being immersed, though. That's life is just happening to you. You're not putting your imprint or impression onto the world around. You are allowing the world to happen to you.
Yeah, I'm like a ping pong.
And you're just reacting. And that's where majority of people are kind of stuck.